Let's get started with a test for access control for the user's index. We'll choose the same basic model as Twitter, which is that will allow anyone to view a user's profile page, even if they're not logged in, but will require user login to view the user's index. So we can go to our user's controller test, add a test for that. I'm going to put it at the top of the file, actually. There's kind of a standard ordering of the different REST actions, and so I'm going to put the test for the index action here at the top, because that's usually what goes first. Should be the same basic kind of test as the edit test here. It should redirect index when not logged in. It's the same basic thing. We're going to say get index action insert redirected to login URL. Of course, it should be read at first. And to get this to pass, we can just add index to this list. Should be green. Nope, still red. Oh, it's red because we haven't defined the index action yet. You can see the action index could not be found right here. Now we should be green. Great. Now let's think about what this index is going to be. Eventually we're going to paginate these users, as we saw in the mockup, but let's start out just by defining a users variable at users that's equal to all the users. And then we'll make an index view that will render all the users. So let's go to here. We want to go to app views users, and we just need an index here. Let's recall what these look like, these views for the users. Let's look at the show page. So we've got this provide line at the top. Provides the title, and we'll just call this all users. And then let's give it an H1. Same thing, and the users, we can think of them as either an ordered list or an unordered list, especially because we haven't fixed an order. I'm just going to make them a UL right now. It's unordered list, and let's give it a class of users. So the way to do this is to iterate through the users. Here's users controller. All right, so by virtue of this instance variable, here we have an instance variable automatically here in the view. Iterate through at users.each, do user, and then let's make a list item for each user. Remember from our mockup what this is going to look like. Basically, we're going to have the gravatar for the user and then a link to the profile. And I want to change the size of the gravatar on the user's page. So I'm going to give it an optional argument here. We're going to have to change the gravatar for helper. This was actually an exercise in the book, but now we'll see the solution to that. And then link to the user's name. Remember, that's escaped out automatically. And then the link itself will be the user path of the user, like this. But as usual, we can omit this part and just write user. Okay, so let's go to the gravatar for helper that's in the user's helper. So what we want to do is give this an optional argument. And let's make the default size 80, which is actually the default size for gravatar. So we've got an options hash here with a default size, and then inside here we'll make size equal to the options size. and then we can put it inside here. This is the way Gravatar works. It's query parameter, question mark s equals, and we can interpolate size. You can see down here that I'm in the 81st column, right here, which means that this is 80 columns exactly. So I'm not going to bother putting it on a new line. And so this should be working, I think. Let's take a look at it. So it's at /users. All right, well, there are only 2 users. It's kind of sad. And the styling is all wrong, but it's basically working. So let's put in some CSS to get that styling to work. Just going to put this at the bottom here. This is pretty short. I can just type this in. The style none will get rid of this little bullet point there. You can see that. And then an li. Border on the bottom, solid gray lighter. So let's see how that looks. All right, that's a lot better. Of course, I had to type in the URL there, but it would be nice to be able to click on this user's link. So let's do that. That's in the header. And that's right here, linked to users. You can look over here at our table. That's at the user's path. So do user's path. All right, you can click on this now. Well, actually, let's click over here and then click on the users. All right, it's working.